Alright, let's get into it. Breaking news. So the other day, Damien Williams opted out of the 2020 season, and you know what that means for CEH. The hype train has officially it left the station already. He was being drafted as a second round pick. Now, let's take a look into his fantasy outlook and why he's a top 5 running back this season. Alright, let's do it. Let's make the case for CEH as a top 5 running back in 2020. So what I basically did was I found all the vacated yards on the ground and through the air with LaShawn McCoy and Damien Williams. As we know, Damien Williams just opted out. LaShawn McCoy just signed a 1-year deal with the Buccaneers, so he's not going to be joining them for the 2020 season. And between the both of them, they had 58 vacated catches throughout the whole year. And that was with Patrick Mahomes not there. So we also take into the fact that Darrell Williams also had 15 catches, and he had a ton of those catches coming from week 3 and week 4 where Damien Williams was hurt. So those 58 vacated catches could have been way more if Mahomes was still there running this offense way more efficiently and Damien Williams was healthy for a full season. So we also take into the fact that between the two of them, they had 212 carries. 212 carries, and that resulted in 963 yards on the ground. That's 4.54 yards a carry. So we give CEH 240 carries. We give CEH 240 carries times the 4.54 yards that both LaShawn McCoy and Damien Williams averaged. That's 1,089.6 yards on the ground. We give him 60 catches, which is more than generous in this offense, times 8, which is the yards per catch that Damien Williams and LaShawn McCoy both average. That's 480 yards on the air. We also give him 10 touchdowns on the ground and 5 touchdowns through the air. And that's, again, more than generous with the stats I'm going to give you guys later. So we pile all that up, which is 60 plus 30 plus 109 plus 48 plus 60. That's 307 points in full PPR formats. That's the RB5 last year. So in one of the greatest offenses of all time, another stat, Andy Reid has never had a rookie running back ever finish outside of the top 10 running backs. Another stat, Chiefs running backs average 1.4 touchdowns a game under Patrick Mahomes. You times that 16 games, that's close to 28 touchdowns in a full season. In a backfield where Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the clear-cut workhorse alpha dog. His ceiling is 20 plus touchdowns. And I'm being more than generous giving Darrell Williams, DeAndre Washington, all those bums, a couple touchdowns here and there. 20 touchdowns. So we pile on all those stats that I just mentioned to you, where Clyde Edwards-Helaire finishes the RB5 with 15 touchdowns. We give him the same stats, but we bump his touchdowns up from 15 to 20. He finishes as the RB2. The RB2 in fantasy. And that was with Christian McCaffrey having the second best fantasy season of all time. So we could see a situation where Clyde Edwards-Helaire is even the number 1 fantasy back. As crazy as that sounds. Not in standard, in full PPR. I think he's going to get a lot of catches. So keep that under consideration if you play in standard leagues. So last year, they had 0 run game. Of course, they didn't have any run game. Damien Williams was trash. LaShawn McCoy's trash. Darrell Williams is trash. Darwin Thompson's trash. Another fact, Patrick Mahomes will play a full 16 games this season. A lot of people seem to forget that. And with Patrick Mahomes playing a full 16 games this season, defenses can't stack the box. You're really going to stack the box against Patrick Mahomes. Defenses are rather going to have them let CEH beat them than Patrick Mahomes beat them over the top for a deep pass. It's the way it's always going to go. So CEH isn't going to get touched until he's 5 yards past the line of scrimmage every single time. With how elusive CEH is, he could have a monster season, not counting all the catches he's going to get, not counting all the touchdowns he's going to get. And a lot of people like to shame on Clyde Edwards-Helaire a lot, but are we going to forget that he was the first running back selected in the NFL draft? The first running back in what was his historic draft class. A historic draft class. Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, all these guys, even some lower tier names like Zach Moss. All these guys, he was the first running back selected. And even if you don't agree with that, you have to note that he was a first round draft capital running back in a historic draft class. So I don't want to hear that CEH is a bum, because he's miles better than both Damien Williams and LaShawn McCoy right now. So the fact that both of those guys averaged 4.54 yards a carry last year, CEH could average 5+ yards a carry. CEH is going to be way more efficient and way better than both those running backs last year. And another fact that I want to tell you guys about before I get into my next point. The Chiefs offense has averaged 32.4 points per game under Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be a fantasy dream in 2020 with Patrick Mahomes healthy for a full season. And you have a first round draft capital player who's going to be an alpha, the best running back on the entire team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be a top 5 running back. Since 2015, first round running backs have averaged 15.5 touches a game under Andy Reid's system. So we're going to give him, we're going to round up to 16 touches instead of 15.5. I know, crazy, whatever. But let's do it. Let's give him 10 carries in a game times 5, which is what he's going to average on the ground. And we're also going to give him 6 catches a game times 8, which is what he's going to average per catch. That's 15.6 points in full PPR. With the touchdown, with the 1.74 touchdown that I mentioned earlier in the stat, he's going to get a touchdown pretty much every single game, if not multiple. We're giving him 21.6 points as his floor. So if he gets more than 1,000 yards on the ground, maybe let's give him 1,200 yards, 500+ yards, with maybe 70 catches on the air. We give him 20 touchdowns. He could finish as the RB1. And a lot of people, they seem to forget, Kareem Hunt was a beast in this system. A beast. Now, the only thing that concerns me in this outlook for CEH going into 2020 is his health. You know, he's going to be a workhorse in the NFL. He's a smaller size running back. But again, predicting injuries in fantasy is such a disaster because anyone can get injured, especially in the running back position. So I'm not going to count that. But his ceiling in this offense, even in his rookie year, is through the roof. Draft him as a top 5 running back this year in full point PPR. Half point PPR, I'll probably have Dalvin Cook a spot over him. But in full PPR, I'm drafting him as a top 5 running back this year, even in his rookie year. A lot of people like to think that, you know, rookie running backs, they're not it. But he was a first round pick, guys. The workload for his first round running backs is significantly better than second round running backs. You pile that onto the fact that he's miles and miles ahead of anyone in terms of talent in this backfield. In one of the best offenses I've ever seen, one of the best offenses in history. In an offense that if defenses stack the box, Patrick Mahomes is going to kill them. So who would you rather get burnt by? CEH or Patrick Mahomes? That's what I thought. CEH will get 5 yards a carry with all the catches he's going to get as well, with this pass-happy offense, with this efficient offense, with this 32.4 points per game offense. CEH is going to be a monster this year. Invest in him because I can guarantee you, late August, when drafts take place, a lot of people are going to wake up on CEH and see the stats for themselves. Alright, that was the case for CEH for being a top 5 running back. That's all I got.